this is what I've been talking about. Instead of looking internally, sure, we can criticize each other. A lot of people have been really glossing over the fact that the left still wants anybody they disagree with, at least in my opinion, to no longer be breathing. We saw this with Tyler Robinson. Now, a lot of people disagree with me and they think that it was some foreign country or something like that. Look, if that ends up being the case, good. I mean, I'm not really good, but I hope they can prove that in court. We'll find out at the trial, I guess, and then whether or not people are convinced by the evidence at the trial. But I am convinced that Charlie Kirk lost his life to Tyler Robinson, the boyfriend of a trans man who I also believe was involved in this at some level, but I can't prove that. I'll have to wait for the trial. He seems to be in witness protection, so I don't know what's going on with that. But while everybody was talking about certain foreign countries over the past, month, little over a month, actually 2 months now, the left still wants us all dead. And Matt Walsh apparently is dealing with somebody who has sent him very specific details, very disturbing details about drowning his child and his wife and many other, and his whole family. And this is what a lot of people were skipping over with, derangement about other countries. You see, this thanks to Ian Carroll and his big mouth, Matt Walsh's wife and children became the target of an assassin. Words matter. Now, I don't see how, I think Ian Carroll is a Fed or a plant. I also think he's wildly dishonest. But if it's something he said that caused somebody to threaten Matt Walsh, I mean, the person that issued the threats is the one who we should blame. The issue is it's a leftist. I thought it was a leftist. Now it's this person. I don't really care. I want them in jail. So Matt Walsh posted, "The police have been notified. We take threats very seriously. All necessary steps have been taken. There will be consequences for anyone who makes threats against my family." I would like to know some more information dealing with a leftist who threatened to drown Matt Walsh's son. These people are insane. Now, I would love to see the actual post of this person. I assume it was sent to Matt Walsh because he said he notified the police. And furthermore, he says, update for those who have asked. Law enforcement is handling it very diligently. This person made extremely specific threats against my wife and children. There will be consequences. As I promised, I can probably say more about the case in the days ahead. Now, the 0 Hour individual, I unfollowed them because I can't really tell. They seem ideologically motivated in what they seem to, it colors a lot of what they talk about, but they have done a good job like locating people on the internet in the past. I waited for Matt Walsh to speak out directly about it because, I wanted to make sure he would confirm this. Was it a leftist? Was it Ian Carroll? I don't know. This guy doesn't like Ian Carroll, so he's saying, basically Ian Carroll criticized Matt for not quitting his job for the Daily Wire because the Jews. I mean, I'm sorry, you can get butthurt all you want about that, but that's the truth. They're like, well, you're working for a Zionist. You should quit your job. I don't know. I don't see Ben Shapiro controlling anything Matt says. And maybe Matt is quitting. I don't know, but he's certainly not going to do it because some Uber driver told him to do it, some Fed poster. But what's interesting is whether it was a leftist or Ian Carroll, it doesn't really matter. Obviously I would be more convinced that it was a leftist because they're doing this stuff. Viva Fry said, what did Ian Carroll say? And if your specificity is not sufficiently clear and unequivocal, you might find yourself guilty of exactly what you were accusing Ian, because I don't know, again, I don't know that it has anything to do with Ian. It's either, a leftist or, this is what Matt said. How do we get here? Well, Here's an article that came out yesterday. 12 far-right influencers targeting the LGBTQ community. Targeting. They choose their language very specifically, very diligently, because they want, in my opinion, people on the right to get attacked. They call Charlie Kirk a Nazi, and then they convince the left that they're taking out Nazis and they are the real heroes. That's how this stuff works. If you look at the start of the number one person they list targeting is Matt Walsh. And then we have Chaya Raichik. What these are essentially hit lists. There is a certain amount of deranged people out on the internet. Even like when I cover, like, I think Ian Carroll's a Fed. I think he's an idiot. But like, I would never advocate anybody directly, even interacting with him. I think you'd be better off not to. My viewers know this, but there is always like this certain amount of people who are totally deranged in the world, like Tyler Robinson. Again, in my opinion, we'll wait for the trial and see, but that's where all the evidence that I've seen points, regardless of who comes to whom in dreams. You create these lists, Candace Owens on the list, Riley Gaines, Nick Fuentes, Benny Johnson. How's Benny Johnson? Scott Presler is gay. Robbie Starbuck, Jack Posobiec, Michael Knowles, Brendan Straka. I don't know who Brendan Straka is. He's also gay. So 2 of the 12 people you picked are gay. But these type of things, they put these hit lists out. Let's look at what happened to Charlie Kirk and how it's related to Matt Walsh. The left spent years. I mean, just go on Blue Sky. You'll see it, right? Just go on Blue Sky and search up Matt Walsh's name. And some of the heinous stuff people say there. It's completely unmoderated, which is fine. But I would like to see, some police being notified if people are issuing actual direct threats. For years, they called Charlie Kirk a Nazi, one of the worst human beings. He's gonna destroy the trans people. None of these people have done that. I think Matt Walsh has crusaded for getting rid of gender affirming care specifically for kids, because there's no such thing as quote unquote gender affirming care. There's only elective surgeries that change a young woman's body for her entire life. Many of these women end up regretting that. That's why we don't allow these surgeries. That's why we don't allow people to get tattoos until they're 18. They shouldn't be able to have double mastectomies at 16, 17 years old, because their loser white liberal mom wants attention from other soccer moms. Let's be honest, that's a big part of it. But when you look at here's a list of the most powerful and influential anti-LGBTQ extremists and what you should know about them. There's a lot of mental illness on the planet, okay? There's a lot of that in the trans community because, you have obviously gender dysmorphia or body dysmorphia or gender, whatever it's called. You have at least that. But look at all the people that have gone into these schools and done heinous things. Like the last, 80% of the last dozen have been trans. As far as I know, the man that took Charlie Kirk's life was dating or banging a trans dude who was also deeply mentally ill, according to his friends and family. You had the guy in Minneapolis, trans, went into school, took kids' lives. You had the girl in Nashville, Tennessee, went into a school, also trans. I mean, what these people are doing at The Advocate is creating a hit list for deranged people to look at and be like, ooh, I could get the number one anti-trans person. It's my opinion that they know exactly what they're doing by putting out these lists. They want something to happen to Matt Walsh. That's just my opinion, obviously. Just my opinion. And you have a lot of these people who just are irresponsible. And you have a certain amount of lunatics out there on the left who we need to be careful of. We need to pay attention to, right? Here's Natalie Jean Beisner writing, man, I want to go back to fighting Democrats. Yeah, I do too. Even I got derailed. Look, I took it personally with what I believe is Candace Owens' insane lies about Charlie Kirk, but it's just not worth it anymore. I mean, the last week I think we had Luigi Mangione and Tyler Robinson having trials on the same day as the Ukrainian, the guy that tried to take out Trump. All of these people, as far as we know, were far left wing, and we're worried about, what does MAGA really mean? We're worried about, oh my God, there's a guy who voted for Trump, but he doesn't like Israel. Like, I don't care about that. I care about the left because they are killing us. And you have somebody threatening to drown Matt's kids. This is leftist ideology. I don't even know how to open up. I don't know how to open up Blue Sky. I had an account there just so I could observe and report, and they banned me. I wonder if I can even search it. Matt Walsh. Search is currently unavailable and logged out. Well, I did have an account here. It got banned because apparently they didn't like me. I didn't break any of their policies. But I mean, you have Blue Sky, which is full of these like aggressive lunatics. And I think we need to get back to focusing on that. I'm hoping for a swift arrest. The best thing people on the right can do is to report these things to law enforcement, raise a stink about it online, send it to me if you see these people issuing these threats. And we need to get these people arrested because we need to retrain these individuals that there are consequences. Sure, maybe they're just being an edgy boy online, but you don't get to threaten us digitally anymore because we now know that it translates to real life. I hope Matt and his family are safe. I hope you were informed by this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.